Hello, everyone. This is Karen Jackson, and I am so happy to bring you our friend today, Mr. John Okewole. This is Chat with Sandy and Karen. I'm Karen Jackson, and my co-host,
Sandy Banso.
and we are just so happy. We've known John for several years, and he always brings a smile to our face and joy to our hearts. So, John, welcome. Welcome to you.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's been this has been coming for like since the start of this podcast that John and I go to get on our podcast, and here I am today, and I'm so excited. If you've been following all the series of the podcast up to now, you'll see that it's only getting better every week in, week out, and they've been bringing some amazing people, and I'm kind of like telling them that, oh, come on, John is the smallest of all the big people that you brought into the podcast. So never mind, just bear with me. I'm going to be playing around with Karen and Sandy. They are my friends, so we can actually discuss anything. Thank you very much.
Yes. And as you know, we usually have a timeline. We write notes ahead of time, and then we don't even look at them as we talk. So we'll just let the conversation go where it will.
All right.
So what would you like to talk to us today about, John?
Yeah. I was saying some things at the back of the hall before we got live here, and I'm saying that too many ideas were popping on in my head about what we're going to talk about, because when you're talking about education technology, we're into it, and there's so much, and it keeps developing every day. So many things that we could actually talk about, but the thing that really resonates with me while I was talking with Karen and Sandy is rehearsal. I think if I could actually write that on a paper or on a cardboard and say, yeah, rehearsal is something that you're supposed to put in front of yourself while you're working as an educator right now. Rehearsal. So I guess I can actually talk so much about rehearsal, and the word rehearsal comes very fitting for so many professionals. You talk of the artists, you talk of those ones that sing, different set of people like that, but the educator needs to understand what it means for you to have rehearsals right now. You can't expect even the most prolific singer in the world to come on stage without first of all sitting down with his or her team to kind of like say, okay, yeah, where are we going to start all this? If we're going to have a live show, so how do we start? They're going to, a whole lot of things comes into play in the rehearsals before they come live for us to see. If you see the behind the scenes, you see that a whole lot of horrible things have to come up before they come up with something really golden. I use Karen's word, for them to be able to kind of like come up with a very good blend. So for you as an educator, do you really rehearse? You kind of like, yeah, I don't play the guitar and I don't sing songs, but you come in front of your students. They are your audience, and you have to leave a lasting impression on them. And that means that you've got to prepare behind the scene, rehearse what you're doing, and think about it, and think in different terms of how what you're doing is going to impact the learners. So rehearsal is a very powerful tool and very powerful word and concept. Thanks to Karen and Sandy, I just came up with that right now, and we need to talk about it the more. Thank you so much.
We do.
Long is the prologue or whatever, or for whatever I wanted to say here. Whatever.
Well, people, the key thing I think with rehearsal and just rehearsing what you're going to say is you make mistakes.
Yeah.
That you make them beforehand, and that way you know what's gonna come up. My director used to say, "Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent." And for a while, she was a piano teacher. I mean, musician, and that really stuck with me. And so, you want to be permanent in what you're going to say, so that you're not just, as things don't surprise you, really.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Uh, just a second, I'm fixing something here. Um, yeah, never
Oh, the
mind.
sound
It-
sounds better when whatever you did
really?
work. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
No more
goodness.
buzz.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I think I got where the problem came from. One of the cables here.
Oh
Okay, bad again.
no. Okay, right there. Don't do anything else.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, you've turned to what happened to. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm really adjusting so many things. Yeah,
It's all right. I can edit.
yeah. Okay, good, no problem. You're going
Yes,
to.
John, John,
I use my phone to do recording because it has a better pan for me than the system, and the camera, the camera resolution is much more better. So you said something that you were a piano teacher at
Oh
some
no,
point.
not me. My boss was.
Okay. So practice, and you talked about practice makes permanent, and it's
Mhm.
very, very interesting to understand that uh, you 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 need to get that into the system of whatever you're doing right now. Uh, Technology is an ever changing field,
mm,
and it's one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic field in the world right now. And the fact that it keeps imparting everything and anything means that you would employ, or you would bring in technology to whatever you're doing, have to effectively keep on rehearsing with it. You need to keep on working on it. You need to keep on developing yourself, and that's the idea about professional development anyway. Professional development gives you the tools for you to keep on getting better, but you've got to make use of those tools. You've got to build with them. Uh, Recently, Google, what we've known all these years, G Suite, just changed, and we now have Google Workspace. And Google Workspace came with a whole lot of other things. And for someone that's like say a king, how would I put it right now? Someone that is already known, famous with G Suite in 2020, 2019, gets to 2021 and wakes up and discover that no, it's not G Suite any longer. It's Google Workspace, and there's a whole lot of things that are in place. So you can't rely on yesterday's idea, information, way of doing things. You've got to check it out, make it better, so that you'll be able to get something like a better blend for your learners. I guess the process of getting you empowered as an educator is also one thing that you instill or impart in your learners. When your learners understand that you come into class and you have not just one way, but several ways of doing things, and you're kind of like coming home excited and say, "Yeah, I just discovered something while I was reading." Your learners are actually listening to you say those words. At the end of the day, what will impact them will not be the subject matter area, like they're doing trigonometry or something, or they're writing code. It's the approach that you have given. That's what it gets imparted in them over time. I don't know a lot of things that my teacher taught me now when I was in grade school any longer, but like you all say, I understand, or I can remember a teacher by how they feel, how they act, their the way they present things. Like you get a teacher that, okay, what he does is that he starts with a particular thing and he comes up with it. So those are the things that you leave, the marks, the indelible marks that you leave with the student. So if the student discovers that you are an ever-changing and ever-developing educator, then it impacts them. And they understand that the approach to learn, or the approach to actually get better in that aspect of topic or subject, is for them to keep on redeveloping themselves, keep on getting new information, keep on
Right.
going through something. So that's where I say things right now. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, I really agree. What you're saying is that we're imparting the approach to learning,
Yeah.
and we're making an impact on them for the rest of their lives. You know, that is, with all the people that we've talked with on this podcast, that is what comes to me, is that they understand they're making a difference in students' lives. And I think I agree. I totally agree with you that our approach to learning is, we need to make students know how we learn, and that we realize we're still learning.
Yeah, it's important that we still show that we're still learning, and it's very, very important. And that's the difference that uh, being an educator in the 21st century is going to bring up right now. I was thinking of something before we came on board. Uh, I think almost like either every decade or every 20 years, something different used to happen across our world that changed the trajectory of things and make things, kind of like, at least I was trying to kind of look back that, okay, yeah, now we had COVID in 2020, horrible. In 2000, we had the Millennium Bug. I know you guys
Oh, yeah.
remember all of that. You understand? So, and it changed everything. So many things. And uh, in the 80s, okay, good. You had the Microsoft and the Apples. They started within the 70s to the turn of the 80s, and they really made an indelible mark on what computing is today. So there's a kind of like a revolution that is not a forceful, no, I wouldn't say forceful things, but that does not involve like militancy, but it transforms how we tend to do things. And that's an indicator to show to us that in the next 10 years or in the next 20 years, so many things would have changed. And I was going through an information recently, and they were looking at adult education and the journals and the literature works that were coming up. And the one person remarked that it seems these things are actually not changing, that are adults not really giving into technology use and all that. And I'm like, well, there are several sides to that anyway. Now, if they can still get along and they feel that, yeah, my time is up, I do not have so much to do here again, so they can keep to what they're doing. But the problem is going to be that if they have a younger person that's actually following them, and they instill that orientation into them as well, it's going to be pretty bad for the person, because when things keeps on changing, you kind of like think that, oh, we'll have to be static. Static. So it's important that we understand. Now, we started from rehearsal, and we're looking at how things keep changing to make sure that now the rehearsal helps you to be able to keep up with the trend, keep up with the updates, and makes you innovative. In fact, that word, yeah, I'm talking to innovators. Yeah, very great. I said the word. Yeah. So I'm supposed to introduce my interviewers. I'm supposed to introduce them, because they kind of like, yeah, some of the most innovative people that I've ever known, and they keep coming. It's kind of like really very interesting. Now, innovation is not in the big gigantic things, but innovation is in the small things changing over time, keep. You don't have to do the big bluster thing. Yeah, it's big. No, now start to change the way, the dimension, the part. And it starts to come like that, and that's the essence of innovation. And before you know it, within how many years, a whole lot of things have actually changed. And that's the kind of like thing that I demify, or that I see that educators need to imbibe. Educators need to understand this and then be innovative. You don't have to think that you're going to get way better overnight. You just need to keep at it, keep doing it, take baby steps, and before you know it, it gets better. So innovation is a key word that is going to be needed consistently in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. Innovation will still be innovation. And the only thing is that are you innovating? What new things are needed in the system, and all of those things like that. So that's one of the interesting things that my uncle, please tell me, what are the things that you really want me to talk about? I think I need to ask you that question, because I could get into talking and get into so many things at the same time.
Stanley, you're muted.
I was going to say, that's why we love you on our show, John.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, you just wanted me to cut. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Karen.
Talk to us about TVET.
Woo! That's a fun place. Thank you. Okay. So start to, you have a checklist. So start to ask me about the checklist. I think I own up to you for that. So yeah, TVET is a very, TVET. If you don't know TVET is very simple. Technical and vocational education and training, and it's talking all about the vocational aspect of education. Now we generally understand that there's a general education system. That's where you have the training that people get through school and get to the university and get to pick up anything that you want to study. Then TVET comes in to start to look at the technical harm, and then deal with it in a kind of like, okay, yeah, how do we get some of this practicality into whatever we are doing? I mean, and TVET is in every aspect of life. From agri to engineering, whatever you think of, you're going to find out that TVET is definitely involved. Now, but one problem we've had over the years or over time is the fact that we have glamorized and made glorified general education much more than TVET, and we kind of like tend to look at it that, oh, come on, TVET is for some select number of people that can't really pick up with the maths or with the physics of the school or with the literature properly and all that. But that's not true. That's actually not true. There's something that I got introduced to that I knew way back. Now you talk about learning styles. Though there are a lot of researchers have actually come and say, yeah, probably there's no very effective learning styles like that. But now I read an article that I used to still use it as a premise for me to deal with. Now it talks about 5 learning styles that people could actually assess. You talk of the visual, giving people visual things, videos, and all that. You talk of the verbal, or oral. Then you talk of the kinesthetic. You talk of the tactile, and I think that there's a third one. But I mean, there's a 5th one. So now there are some that relatively they wouldn't take so much time to kind of like sit down. You start to tell them the theoretical aspect of things, and you're going to throw them off the classroom because they really don't get it. But when
Yeah,
they
the
see
theory.
something gets done, they'll try it out and they are going to do it. And they love the aspect of trying to pull things down, do a new thing, put it together, sort of, you understand, and then start to do it in a different dimension. So yeah, there's a part of that that comes into parts in the engineering and all that. But precisely because of the educational system that we've actually been running for a long number of years before TVET advocate starts to come fully, it gives a full advantage to the learners that could actually listen to you and give it back to you the way you want it. But
Yeah.
TVET is more like, okay, yeah, I'm going to kind of like turnkey something, try to, and it's practical based and all that. And when the practicals are not available or it's not there, then those learners are not really enthusiastic with learning. And at the end of the day, they get the grades that are not very, very good in your class, and you kind of like, oh, come on, go do something else and all that. But that's not true. If they get into their own area of learning and where they could really, they get much more better. I would ask a question like this: how many people feel can think of fixing a tire as an easy thing? You know, you have a flat tire and you wanted to change it. You're on the road and kind of like, yeah, whatever the kind of you have your uh, SUVs, yeah, that's what you call it in the US. Now we call it Jeeps and all that. And then the tire went down, and you kind of like, yeah, I had to fix this thing. You wouldn't go into any theory or theoretical aspect of the book for you to kind of like fix the thing. You've got
No,
to
it's
get the
not there.
spiners and fix it.
Yeah.
So, but how many people have got the wherewithal, the capacity to actually get the spiners and fix it? Yeah. So that's where TVET people comes in to kind of like everything that we might think that, oh, come on, and those basic things, they matter in our system. Talk of agriculture without the farmers getting at it, you know. Yeah, Karen is a gardener. Yeah, so she understands what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I am someone. Yeah. So yeah, so that's the beauty about it. And the more we encourage those aspects, the more we give ourselves the opportunity to educate more people uh, in our system. Because
Yeah.
either we like it or not, there is a shortfall that because not all universities will not be able to take all people at the same time, and not everybody will be ready to come and do the humanities or do the
No.
engineering and start to do all the
Yeah.
theories and do the models in the school and all that, you know. But
Yeah.
think of it, even TVET is in medicine. Um,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot, you know. So
Yeah.
TVET is an aspect that is very, very important in our system, and we need to really get it better. And that's why I'm really excited to be part of TVET. Anyway. So if you wake me up in the morning, I will tell you about TVET. So yeah, I would ask Karen next.
John, what inspired you to start TVET?
Oh, well, I would say this. I I had a father that's actually a TVET professional, and he got me into it at an early age. So he did take contracts. He worked at the Federal Parastatal, so he's a water resources engineer. So and he take jobs outside his office. So he's kind of like, I'm one of those guys that will pick up and say, hey, let's go there, let's go and fix this. There's a tap bad in that place. Let's go and do this about that. And so through that process, I got to start to do that early on, you know, you know, precisely you call that like a form of apprenticeship. despite the fact that, okay, I was just going along with him, all the while. So now, from there, it got me to learn so many things. Not only did I know about water resources engineering or kind of like plumbing and all that, but I knew a lot about the old building and how to structures. So with that, if you're in a house, I could actually give you a quote and say, you want to build a house, Sandy, no problem. Okay, these are the things that you're going to need. This is what, so you're going to need the bricklayer, you're going to need the carpenter to come, you're going to need the welder, you're going to need the electrician that will come in. And then, these are the things that they're going to kind of like do at different parts of the house. And you know, the interesting thing, if anything happens bad with what they do, it can mess up your whole building. And you need them to come and fix things up. So think about the house. You can't do without these TVET people coming out every time to assist you when something happens. So I got to learn that from my dad. And in fact, I have one of my friends that used to tell me that, you, John, don't worry. Is it just because computer just took you away? You're supposed to be a TVET person. I said, well, what am I going to do? You understand? So, but it's just an interesting thing. Perhaps I might still think of doing something in the future about that area. I'll kind of like relate with some civil engineers and see what could actually get done. And I really want to train people with the new developments, the technology is bringing into the system, how it impacts their area of work, and how they could get going forward. But right now, education is getting too many things out of my head, so never mind.
Well, I like system. I mean, both of everything that you talked about today has been systems thinking. And I think if we kind of get our brains wrapped around that, we'll understand that everything is connected and it's a system that we need.
It's really, really interesting. Systems. I just said this, like, I do a whole lot of things. Never mind, I'm switching right now.
Okay.
in the policy arm of education. And I see that, dealing with like in the SDGs, we talk about quality education goal 4, and you kind of like look at it that to actually get anything done for quality education, you have to think in terms of the systemic nature of the whole thing. You don't have to just kind of like say, hey, these are the things, these are the most important and these are the less important. So let's treat these as the most important. And oh my goodness. Now think about the old school, because I was doing something on school reforms yesterday, and I was reading something about school reforms yesterday, and it was kind of like talking about reforms are less evaluated, and people just come up, they throw the word of reforms and all that, and at the end of the day, they can't really understand what reforms actually took place in the system. Now, what happened is this: education is systemic, and if you, even starting from the basic school plan, now for you to have a quality system in your school, you've got to think of so many things. Now, you have an enrollment system, you have the classroom. What do you have in the classroom? You have the pedagogy that the teachers are going to come up to do. How very good are the teachers. Then the professional development of the teachers is really, really important to whatever the teachers come up with. Then the assessment. What are they assessing now? Why do they have to assess that way? Now you talk of the formative and the summative assessment, and what short-term and long-term goals do you have with the assessment process? You've got to consider all of that, and then the ability for you to do tracer studies, that when you graduate students, you don't just leave them, let that's the end of the thing.
Let them go.
Now, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, are you able to kind of like get across to them and say, yeah, you went through this process in our school, wanted to know has this thing impacted you over the years? Now, that's going to give us some analytics for us to bring back and say, okay, yeah, this is what seems to be working. This is what we should keep out. This is what we should really amend and make some changes to for our successive people.
Impact.
So it's kind of like very systemic. But the challenge that we have is that now are people thinking in a systemic manner to deal with what is a system. So if you can actually achieve that in a school, then you think of the old district, it's not coming up. And you think of the old states, it's not coming up. And the problem now is this: we now discover that some people will just do some findings, research, and at the end of the day, they say, oh, come on, this is the solution. I will believe that this solution is going to solve everything. And they're going to like force it into the school. You must do this. It's a no. There's one that I want to work on right now. It's even really fresh in my system in the state that I live in. During the pandemic, I think they've been talking with a particular organization, and all of a sudden, guess what they did? For those that are teaching the primary schools are the grade 1 to grade 6. They brought in tablets, and that's where I have an issue. I'm going to talk. We're talking about a lot of education technology, and we need to understand that now. They brought in tablets, and what the tablet does is this: the tablet is for the teacher. The teacher is going to hold the tablet, and class starts 3:30 p.m. and it's going to end at 4 p.m. Now, they've calculated what the teacher is going to do between 3:30 and 4 p.m. without a regard for the learners that are inside that class. It's so awful. And at the end of the day, the teacher would make sure that she raises towards completing what is in that tablet within 3:30 to 4 p.m. because exactly at 4 p.m., that information gets wiped off. And you are told that, yeah, your period has ended, then we go into something else. Now, the question is this. Are you trying to like put all the learners at the same level and their capability to assimilate at the same level? What's not going to happen eventually? Now, there are some that have an accelerated rate. There's some that they assimilate a much more slower, and you kind of like come into a middle line, and you're not giving the teacher the opportunity to actually take charge of the class.
Yeah,
it's a problem because now at the end of the day, the teachers have sampled opinions from teachers from different places, and they're like, yeah, the government thought they had to make the teachers a dummy in the class right now. So we just come into class, and what it's on the tablets is what we read to them or we write on the board, and after the time is off, that's the end, and we don't go back to it. And in fact, there is no aid, there's no learning aid that came with the tablets. There's no additional materials that the learners are supposed to have as classwork to move around, and and I'm like, how on earth did they have to bring something like that? Which kind of research informed them that it's going to work just like that? And they are actually bringing it into a production system. That is the most awful part of it. I'm like, you don't do this kind of thing in a production system. You kind of like do a pilot and let the pilot be known by everybody, and let the teachers kind of like say, okay, then you take it one after the other. They can break it that, okay, yeah, we'll use the tablet for some part of the courses, for the beginners part, then we do, the TVET is going to come first period, and the second period, then the teacher is going to take charge and ask, yeah, how many of you understood this? What we talked about, this, and all of that. And then the learners, yeah, I saw something. It was like 0, but I guess it was 6, and the teacher said, oh, no, it's not what you think, and from there, they're going to interact and relate. Technology does not make dummies out of people, but people can make themselves dummies to technology.
So from this then, John, what are your plans for the future with TVET? How are you going to, I don't know,
move forward to promote it, to promote better teaching rather than just by template or tablet?
Oh, okay, yeah, good. Okay, I didn't do any kind of introduction, so I assume everybody knows me. Yeah, so currently I'm actually doing, I'm going to say 2 things right now. Okay, I'm going to put one at the end of the whole thing. So let me know when it's about 5 minutes to the end. So I wanted to do a pitch to Sandy, so that Sandy is going to go bring some pronouns and support the vision.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing a program at the Open University UK, and it's been a very fantastic course. The interesting thing is that now I'm going to tell you something. I said something about my area and what's happening. It's also happening in Western world. Let me explain what happened with the OU. Because the program I'm actually doing, they have discontinued the program. So we are the last set of people that are doing the program, and the program is, we call it Masters in Online and Distance Education. And even the title says it all, that this is fitting for this period. So I don't know how they came up with the analytics and with the whole decision to say, yeah, we just have to close down this program. In fact, the lecturers that we have, our tutors, we call them tutors, they're fused about it a lot. That say, the OU said they're going to discontinue this course, and well, we don't have a decision to make. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a professor and you can't do anything about it. But this is really, really horrible. So now I wrote a journal, and I had to post it early this morning. I was kind of like querying it, that why should they close down this kind of course? And I've not heard from any one of them to say that, they're thinking about bringing it back better. It's just like everything goes off. And I'm like, no, it's not. So now they're supposed to come back, because now, before you do something like that, you're supposed to kind of like ask questions. So one of the things that we're doing, the model we're doing this period is called the critical researcher. So either I like it or not, I have to get all out and start to put all the questionnaires together and ask people. Yeah, Karen has always been okay. Both of you have been very, very good at helping me to look at my crazy questionnaires at some crazy timelines. And I'm like, what's challenging with John? Every time he's always come with something weird. So rest assured, look out for me. I'm going to come up with another questionnaire very soon. So
awesome.
Yeah. So I already spoke with one of my colleagues, and I'm like, we're going to do something about this system. So let's ask questions. Let's ask the teachers what's happening. Let us know the process, end to end. What's happening? Then let's now write the organization behind the project and say, why did you have to do this? Then what informed your decision? And then let's engage the government and say, government, whatever you're thinking,
what are you doing?
Things doesn't just happen all of a sudden and you expect it to just be like that. You can't just apply a fix. you just have to,
Yeah.
get to know that there's a level, there's a way to actually bring in things. Change happen overnight, and you expect that things are going to change. You must make sure that you carry the people along. You do everything. I mean, you take it in a stepwise manner. So that's what I'm interested in doing, because I have a research to prepare, and I already made up my mind that I'm going to do something like that. I'm going to use the opportunity to do that, because now I'm getting all the fact that I'm going to do the talking and not the walking. I have to walk the talk. So, Sandy, did I in a way answer any question that you asked?
No, we certainly do the talks.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to walk the talk.
Yeah, exactly. And one way,
Good for
okay,
all of
so
us.
like, how many minutes do we have left? Let me know.
Okay, we are down to the 5-minute mark.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, and to walk the talk, guess what? Yeah, we did some things last year, and yeah, you were the heroes of the program. I was just kind of like looking around. Yeah, is Karen here? Where's Sandy? So we did things about the team.
Yeah, it was very good to do that last year. I think it was very energizing, and I think your student teachers were ready, and I thought that was a brilliant program you had initiated with.
Exactly.
And then you did the 24-hour marathon. You and Karen also didn't get sleep for 24 hours.
More than 24 hours, about 30 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, because we prepped before and after.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was something. Yeah, that was good experience. So we'll put the links to those, like to talk about the TeachAthon and the coding class, and it was a pedagogy class, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That we did.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is that I really want us to go even much more with what we did last year. So the organizations that are going to be handling that, I'm actually setting them up. I'm kind of in a transition period right now, so I'm actually putting a whole lot of things together. So guess what? TeachAthon is going to be a Google education partner. And definitely along the line, we're going to be a Microsoft partner and Moodle partner. Now, why we're actually bringing all of that together is this. We wanted to, create an enablement. Okay, I come from Africa, so there's a whole lot that is that can be done in the system. Professional development is not as really pronounced as it is in Europe or in North America. So, but I guess we need to actually start to make that as a staple right now. And that's one of the things that TeachAthon is actually coming up to do. Now, such that at the end of the day, I appreciate the works of like Commonwealth of Learning. It's an intergovernmental organization that have been floating a whole lot of open educational courses, MOOCs, basically, lately, and they work with governments and all that. But yeah, that is still, for me, that's still a drop in the ocean, because there needs to be more that will be done. And at least we can actually contribute, like maybe our quota in the system, to make sure that, professional development gets even deep down, and the and the educators have access, more opportunities for professional development, more opportunity for them to kind of like understand that, okay, this is a continual process. You're a lifelong learner if you're an educator. I think I'll repeat that. You're a lifelong learner if you're an educator, then that means that you need to keep on developing yourself. And that is where I believe that I'm supposed to kind of like station, to make sure that we keep on letting people to understand that you don't have to stop. You need to keep on growing because of your learners. Your growth impacts and affects your learners, the bottom line. And very, very important that if you grow, your learners will feel the pulse and they will grow as well. And immediately they understand that you have actually put them on the same path for them to continue to develop, because what they are going into, they still don't understand. 20 years ago, there was no Facebook. Okay, perhaps maybe there was Yahoo Messenger and everybody was, it was just kind of like being tried out and all that. But now we've got Facebook, we've got Signal, we've got Telegram, we've got all the stuff, and 20 years to this time, I don't know who's going to help me to look at the crystal ball and kind of like say, 20 years, Sandy, maybe you try that. This is what's going to happen. I'm very sure of it. I've actually seen it. So you need to prepare the learners for their future, not for your past. I do tell people every time, and that means that you need to grow yourself to be able to be a kind of, not a prophet, but a kind of like a guide into the future. And that is why professional development is key, is something that you can't do without. You just have to invest in it. So we wanted to kind of like make people to understand that, invest, and keep on investing. That's why we have a TeachAthon, and we have TeachAthon. And in fact, the name of the organization is TeachAthon. So now kind of like, keep rolling, keep developing, because that is what is required.
Yeah.
5 minutes is gone.
John, wow. So much information there, so much you need to, you have so much to tell us, tell the audience, and our listeners. You've got lots of things there that you want to just talk about and bring out.
TVET and thinking about the future and realizing we are lifelong learners and encouraging that in our students. I think that is very important.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to take away from this. And I really thank you and appreciate you, John. And I hope you'll come back. We've got a lot to talk about.
That should be a year after now. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you ladies are actually doing. Never mind, I call you ladies. You are ladies. So you're doing some impressive thing, very, very amazing thing, and doing a podcast is a lifelong thing, because now your voices will be heard continually for a long, long, long time to come, and it's a precious thing to actually bring in experts to actually be able to talk. You discover that educators, perhaps maybe educators are the people that are not always having the opportunity to come in front of like maybe the radio or the TV or whatever, but with technology to actually afforded us the opportunity to actually do that right now. So I really appreciate you and I appreciate what you're doing, and I know definitely this is going places, basically. So it's an international project already, and it's going to be revived by the UNESCOs of this world, and they kind of like, chat with SK1. We're going to have them live on UNESCO. Yeah, exactly. So I know that, of course, and you're really putting a lot of hours into this. It's not a piecemeal. It's requires, and that was part of what I talked about rehearsal initially when we started. That this thing doesn't just come on itself. You have to keep on doing it. It's very, very important, and it's really, really key. And I'm learning from what you're doing, because I'm not a very consistent person. So I love to do things, when it's very hot and then it goes cold a bit. I see another thing and I jump on it. But now being consistent is a very, very important thing. Very, very important. You can't joke with that.
So you're consistent with listening to our podcast, right, John?
I make sure that I try as much as possible, and then when you do the shots on Twitter, I'm always really, really excited. So I follow it up.
Thank you.
Very, very important.
John, it was such a pleasure to have you today and giving us so much wealth of information of what you're doing there and how you're trying to change the thinking of not just educators, but learners as well. yes, we would love to have you back on our show again so you can tell us more about these exciting projects you're doing. And to us and to our listeners, which is now available on Google, on Apple, and Anchor. So it's on at ChatWSK1. Thank you for listening. And thank you, John.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
John.
Yeah,
John,
thank you
thanks
for
again.
coming around. We really appreciate you. So see you again next week.
Okay.